Donald Trump may choose to delay his April 7th deadline on Iran, but that decision appears to depend on one very specific condition. A new Iran-US deal may be emerging, but Tehran's counterproposal shows that major differences still remain between the two sides.
In order for Iran to successfully meet your deadline tomorrow, do they have to make a deal, open the Strait, or both?
We have to have a deal that's acceptable to me.
As Trump publicly frames the situation as a possible deal-making moment, a U.S. official has revealed a very different picture of the president's true position. One U.S. source described Trump in extremely harsh terms, calling him the most bloodthirsty and comparing him to a mad dog. That kind of internal friction inside Washington could become a political advantage for Iran. According to a new U.S. report, Donald Trump could extend his April 7th deadline for Iran if the situation on the ground begins to shift in favor of a potential agreement. The report suggests that while the threat remains in place, the White House is still watching for any sign that negotiations can produce a breakthrough. A U.S. official told Axios that Trump may decide to hold off on carrying out his threat, but only if one important condition is met. That condition appears to be the emergence of a deal that looks real enough for the president to justify delaying escalation. Axios reported these developments on April 6th, citing 6 different U.S. officials familiar with the discussions. A senior U.S. administration official told Axios, and I quote, "If the president sees a deal is coming together, he'll probably hold off. But only he and he alone makes that decision." End quote. Another defense official, however, was skeptical that any extension would be granted this time around. That suggests there is no consensus inside the U.S. government, with some officials expecting Trump to stay hardline rather than delay. At the same time, a U.S. source told Axios that Trump might actually be the most hawkish person in his own government when it comes to Iran. That description points to a president who may be more aggressive than even some of his senior advisors. Another U.S. source told Axios, and I quote, "The president is the most bloodthirsty, like a mad dog. Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth sound like the doves compared to the president." End quote. These revelations came just as Trump once again repeated his threats toward Iran on April 6th. His public statements show that pressure is still being applied, even as back-channel diplomacy continues.
In order for Iran to successfully meet your deadline tomorrow, do they have to make a deal, open the Strait, or both?
We have to have a deal that's acceptable to me. And part of that deal is going to be, we want free traffic of oil and everything.
Very little is off limits in Iran as far as targeting,
Yeah.
including power plants, bridges, you've mentioned those.
Very little is off limits.
Are there certain kinds of civilian targets, though? I'm thinking schools
I don't want to
or
tell you
hospitals
that.
you
I don't want
would
to
say
tell
is
you
off-
that. We have a plan, because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen. We may even get involved with helping them rebuild their nation. And you know what? If that's the case, the last thing we want to do is start with power plants, which are among the most expensive thing, and bridges. You saw the bridge went. We were very close to a deal. And then I got a call from Mr. Witkoff, Mr. Kushner, and JD saying, "I think they're breaking the deal." I said, "Tell them that's okay. Don't worry about it. But tell them to look out their window and watch." And within 45 minutes, I gave the order to knock out the biggest bridge. I gave the order, knock out the biggest bridge in, I believe, the Middle East, but the biggest bridge in Iran. And within 10 minutes after I gave that order, that bridge was over. So do I want to do that? No. Do I want to destroy their infrastructure? No. It will take them 100 years to rebuild. Right now, if we left today, it would take them 20 years to rebuild their country, and it would never be as good as it was. And the only way they're going to be able to rebuild their country is to utilize the genius of the United States of America.
Iran has reportedly sent a 10-point proposal in response to the mediator-backed plan presented on April 6. That move shows Tehran is engaging seriously, while also pushing back with its own list of conditions. The plan was reportedly conveyed through Pakistan, which is now acting as a key mediator between the two sides. Islamabad's role appears increasingly important as the talks enter a more sensitive stage. Iran's envoy said Pakistan's effort to end the conflict is now reaching a critical and sensitive stage. That language suggests the mediation is active, but also that the process is under serious pressure. Despite these efforts, reports say the plan is unlikely to resolve the major issues before Trump's deadline. That leaves very little time for compromise on the biggest sticking points. Iran's proposal reportedly includes guarantees that it would not face further attacks, along with the lifting of sanctions. Those are central demands for Tehran, and they remain among the hardest issues for Washington to accept. Iran also proposed an end to Israeli strikes on Hezbollah, along with a $2 million fee per ship transiting the Strait of Hormuz. That fee would give Tehran leverage over one of the world's most strategic shipping lanes. Tehran said it would use its share of the funds to rebuild infrastructure damaged in war. This framing allows Iran to present the proposal as both a security arrangement and a reconstruction plan. Earlier, mediators had already presented a proposal to both the US and Iran, laying out a separate set of conditions for each side. That earlier plan appears to have triggered the current round of counter-proposals. Details of the draft Islamabad Accord surfaced in reporting as Trump's April 7 threat raised pressure on both sides. The proposed deal reportedly follows a two-tier structure, with a ceasefire first and a broader settlement later. That reporting came after Axios revealed a push for a 45-day ceasefire as part of the same broader diplomatic effort. The draft US-Iran peace deal includes an immediate ceasefire, reopening of Strait of Hormuz, 15 to 20 days to finalize a broader settlement. Reuters reported that Iran did not immediately commit to the proposal despite intensified civilian and military outreach from mediators. Reuters also said neither side had formally confirmed peace deal negotiations at that stage. Reuters citing a source said, and I quote, "All elements need to be agreed today." Pakistan's Army Chief, Field Marshal Asim Munir, has been in contact all night long with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. The deal, tentatively dubbed the Islamabad Accord, would include a regional framework for the Strait, with final in-person talks in Islamabad. Unquote. Axios-linked reporting said issues such as fully reopening the Strait of Hormuz would likely be handled as part of a final settlement rather than the initial pause. The future of Iran's highly enriched uranium stockpile would also likely be addressed in any broader final pact. Amid all the proposal talks, Iran also issued a stern warning to the United States. The message was clear: if diplomacy fails, the situation could escalate quickly. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf also issued a warning, directly calling out Trump's reckless moves. Ghalibaf said Trump's reckless actions would have broad adverse consequences for both the United States and the wider region.